Okay, so today is Friday, I don't even know, the 18th or 17th. Matt is up on the top of the hill in the front of the property chopping down some trees. So I'll show you guys a close-up once I get up there. It's a little more shaded today, so I think I should be okay. I have makeup on because I thought I had a meeting, but I didn't. So let's go see what our creepy barn looks like without trees all over it. So let's see. You can see over here on this side how split apart this is because the trees are literally growing out of the side of it. And Matt's trying to kill us. Okay, you can see the damage here too from this tree growing into it. So I don't know if we're gonna be able to save this thing or not. It's a hot mess. Okay, now that I look like I was at the bar till 4 a.m., we are done with at least getting the trees down and getting the debris in piles. Look at the root on these damn tree of heavens. They're insane. So we have tons of tree branches and piles of leaves that tomorrow we need to cart somewhere and maybe start burning. So I will give you a little bit of a tour of our creepy building. Okay, so here's our creepy building. This was at one point like a little barn building for a couple horses, but it was totally neglected and trees decided to take back over. Nature always wins. So there's trees that we cut down today, and we're gonna still have to obviously cut all these longer pieces with the chainsaw. Our neighbor is sharpening Matt's chainsaw, but you can see it's pretty rough. This building is pretty old. Matt is trying to get a root out. These stupid trees of heaven are really, really invasive, and they just like sprout when you cut them and pull them, so that's great that we're doing that. But here is our creepy barn with all of the old horse poop and a bunch of old HVAC stuff. I guess the guy that used to live here did HVAC. But you can see, it doesn't this feel like Walking Dead with this spray painted address on there? But you can see we have tons and tons of piles that we will have to figure out what to do with tomorrow. There's some old tires. This is the culprit that destroyed this building. This tree just like wrecked this building. We're gonna see if there's a way to salvage this. It would be great if we could, but I don't know. I don't know how likely that is. But yeah, at one point this thing had water probably, and obviously electric. But you can see here is all of our piles. Then there's this like massive amounts of old concrete slab. Oh, there looks like there's a sink under there. And just some random stuff. But tomorrow is cleanup, so that's what we got done today. And that is our creepy barn. Yeah, and I'm super excited that we have a gate. It just needs that other post needs to go back in there. The hole needs to be dug a little deeper, but then we'll actually have a gate. That's our neighbor's driveway. So I think probably the old people that lived here probably brought their trailer up through here when they had to trailer their horses, but super cool we have a gate. Hey, it is Saturday and we are working outside again, even though it's like frickin' 100 degrees. So I have long sleeves on today because I've gotten a lot of sun the past couple days. I need to protect myself from getting too much sun. Got jeans, so when we're moving stuff around, jeans and long sleeves, we don't get eaten alive by whatever the hell eats you alive in Tennessee. And I just put some hay down around our plants in the garden, hopefully to suppress weeds. It's hay that we collected yesterday when we were cutting down grass and stuff like that from the kind of hill area in front of our house. So hopefully this doesn't kill our plants. I don't think this lawn has ever had pesticides and herbicides on it, but who the hell knows? So I may end up just have killed my plants. So I need to get a little bit more of it. Hopefully I can scrounge up some from our other piles, finish that up, and then I need to work on our compost. Okay, so I spread some of the hay around our plants to hopefully suppress some of the weeds. So like I said, this is our stump area. It's kind of like a pit. There was a bunch of overgrown canna lilies and different kind of weedy plants, and we chopped it all down. So now we have bare soil, which is not good, but we figure, okay, it's bare, let's try to plant things. Note to self, don't plant things next to trees and stuff like that because there's so many roots and weeds. But this side has no weeds because we haven't been watering it. Since I've been watering it, since it's our garden, tons of little weeds and stuff have been popping up. So I'm trying hay. So we'll see how that goes. It's hay from, again, like we got a bunch of grass clippings and dried hay or dried grass from our property yesterday. So hopefully this doesn't have weed seed in it or does not have herbicides on it, and it will just help suppress the weeds, retain the moisture, and not kill all my plants. Exciting. We now have a hose reel, so our hose is not piled up on the side of the house. We have this hose called the Flexzilla, which is amazing. We had another hose that totally broke and we returned it at Home Depot and got this thing instead. It's super lightweight. It doesn't kink that much. It is a great hose, so I'm pretty excited about that. And then we got our cool little hose reel cart. Okay, so now I'm going to work on our compost pile. I started it last week. I kind of sort of, as with everything, don't know what the heck I'm doing, but we started with brown, so like dried grass and things like that in the bottom, and then green, nitrogen stuff, which is like your fresh grass, food scraps, things like that. So I was pretty okay last week about watering it because it needs to stay moist like a sponge so that it doesn't get nasty. I haven't done that consistently, so it doesn't like smell or anything really bad, but it needs to be turned. I need to add some of the other grass clippings we had to it, as well as our food scraps. So I will show you. Okay, so we have these two buckets in our kitchen. One has food scraps and things in it, and the other one has eggshells. So originally what we were doing is saving the eggshells and crushing them up for the chickens. Once they get old enough, they'll need calcium when they start laying, and eggshells are actually a good form of calcium. But I stupidly sealed this airtight container and it kind of got nasty in there. So these are going to go in the compost and we're going to start over again. And we kind of did the same with food scraps. So this stuff shouldn't get smelly, I guess, if you don't keep it in an airtight sealed container. And then here's some of the grass clippings and stuff from yesterday. There is the beginning of the compost pile from last week or whenever I started. So we're gonna mix all this stuff together. I got a whatever manure hay fork thing, so that'll help me turn it. So let's see how this goes. So I don't know if I'm making this compost pile too big or if I have the right portions of everything, but you can kind of see it now. We have a lot more debris and stuff, but I don't know if I should keep adding it to this pile or it's going to be too big. We need to pick up some pallets. I saw somebody in Cookeville and Sparta are both selling pallets, so we need to make like a compost bin so it doesn't just sit here. Maybe, I don't know, it's not a necessity. So I need to organize this a little bit better. I still have a little bit more to put on top, and then I think I'm going to wet it down because it is getting a little stinky. So either I don't have the right ratio of things and or it's not wet enough. Okay, I think my phone is overheating and this is not recording well. I thought I'd share one more thing. Another lesson that we're learning is there's a reason there are so many different types of tools for different tasks. And this is why we're having to spend money to get the things that we need. We were trying to do this compost pile and pick up debris and things just like manually and with like a transfer shovel and stuff like that. But there's a reason why people use manure, whatever, hay forks. That just made picking up all of this shit way easier. So it's gonna take a little bit more money and time to accumulate all the tools we need, but now I know why farmers and homeowners have a million tools because there is a different tool for each job. Lesson learned. Okay, another new tool that just saved me, I just realized. We have a hose reel. Do you know how much easier it is to bring a hose out and bring it back in with a hose reel? Another lesson learned. This is a necessary tool for us. Matt built little side pieces for our cart so we can hold more things. He's so crafty. It's almost 6:30. We have been working, I don't even know, like hours. I have no more hat. We've resorted to sports bra at this point. The sun is now setting a little bit, so I'm not directly in the sun, plus I'm in the shade, and I was like dying. I was so hot in the, in the long sleeve shirt. So we have been taking all of the branches of the trees that Matt cut down yesterday and burning them. Our fire is starting to go out down there, and then Matt's like cutting down the trunks of the trees that are really close to the building even shorter. I've been raking up a shit ton of the clippings from brush hogging, so eventually we can get those off of here and we can get it mowed. So I'm gonna kind of walk you around and show you where we're at. I've basically been like a DIY human freaking hay baler, and I'm literally raking up all the piles, because you can see over here how there's parts where the bush hog could not get the weeds, or it was just, I'm sorry, it got the weeds, but they were so long that then they lay on the grass and it's almost too much and it's smothering the grass, like I was saying the other day. So some of it's okay because the hay is good for the soil once it breaks down, but some of the stuff is just too thick and it'll take too long to break down and it'll just kill the grass and anything underneath it. So I've been literally manually raking up piles and piles and piles of grass. So this is a long, labor-intensive process. So here, let me walk you a little closer here. That is Creepy Barn. Matt's got this cut down a little more. I guess there's like a water pump actually over here, and a bunch of T-posts. And look at this bad boy. Heck yeah. So that's where we're at for the day. Probably stop soon. And okay, all trees are gone. Got some weeds out of here, and now our creepy building is, you know, a little more creepy now. So it's about 100 degrees. Originally I thought it was cooler out. When we started today it was 81. Now it's basically 100. And we were in the heat raking up these piles and putting them in the cart on the mower and tried to stay in the shade as long as we could, but obviously a lot of this is not in the shade. So we've decided, so we don't die, to take a break from this. Matt's gonna mow, I'm gonna weed whack, because it's a little bit easier than just standing in the sun and shoveling piles into the cart. It's Wednesday morning and our baby chicks are here. We got the call from the post office that they're here. We thought they were coming Thursday, but they came early. So now we have to get their water ready, put the pine shavings in their brooder, and get the little brooder plate all heated up and put food out for them too. So I will show you all of that. For them, and put a splash of apple cider vinegar, and then we're gonna put some of this little like baby chick electrolyte powder. So you take a single gallon and you put it in here, and then we stir it up and we'll put it in their little feeder or water, and then we'll put it into the brooder. Gotta put the pine shavings. I got my hands hurt. I feel like I'm looking like an idiot. Into this little spot. This is what it is, Champy. See? Champy. Never mind, you don't care now. Alright. That's not working.
Sit on the edge and pull it out. Yeah.
So it's like so compacted in there. I don't know how much I gotta put in.
Probably enough to cover the bottom.
Yeah. Let's see how that is. Okay, our brooder is set up. We have the food. The water's not working because that jar that we're using is stupid. And we have the brooder heat plate. Champy just got his head stuck in the feeder, so that was exciting. But we got his head out and food went everywhere. He likes the chicken food, so he's eating the crumbs he can find off the ground. Okay, so we gotta take the dogs out and go get the baby chicks. Here they are. They all look alive, so now we're gonna put them into their brooder. I think you're just supposed to put it in there so they don't like drown, I guess. Is that probably good, you think?
That's probably good.